Hi, Melissa. Um, I am really excited by the poems that you wrote this week, in particular, this first one to the native girl, not a lunch rush. I think that you really captured the essence of what I was trying to get everyone to connect with this prompt, which is to really focus on the sensory detail, to think about not just what you're seeing, but also what you're tasting and smelling and touching and feeling and hearing. And I think that you did that. You absolutely were able to connect in that way. And I'm excited to read this. There were a few lines in particular that really grabbed my attention, that really shimmered, that I enjoyed. Um, those in particular, sitting on the hardwood seat I feel in my bones. Um, there's something about this line, I just really like the syntax. Sitting on the hardwood seat I feel in my bones. And I also really liked the clanking metal and glass, the kitchen makes a song. Um, So, yeah, I think in terms of moving forward with this poem, I would keep an eye on your grammar a little bit, like on what punctuation you're using. Um, in terms of, I know one of the questions was wondering if this was too sing-songy or Cat in the Hat, and I don't think it is. I think the rhyming really works, but um, in terms of like the punctuation that you're choosing to use or not use. It's like you've got a question mark here on the third line, and then there's no other punctuation until two periods after and lunch is dot dot in the middle of the poem. And then you've got some commas here. You've got a question mark in the middle of a line here. So I think moving forward, my question would be, um, my suggestion would be for you to think about the punctuation that you're using in this poem. Um, I think the imagery definitely fits the prompt. I think your own writing about your own experience was great. It was really the sensory detail I was trying to focus on. And I already talked about the second one. This second one, Sun and the Moon, I like your trace poem. So many people traced Robert Frost poems this week. It was really interesting to me. Nobody else did Fire and Ice, though. Excuse me. Um, I do think that the objects that you chose um, represented, it definitely reflected Frost's. And yes, it also took on a completely new meaning, right? Because you're using different examples. I did have a question about the meeting. When you say, so I feel the cancer lingers still, I'm wondering if this is a reference to an autobiographical experience of having had cancer and survived it, because that is a super powerful experience and a super powerful image. And I think it's getting a little bit lost in this poem. So I'm wondering if that is the case, if you are writing about an autobiographical experience of having survived cancer and having it still linger in your body. That you would consider putting just a few more details about that experience into this poem. It just seems like this vulnerability shows up and then it disappears again. So I just want to encourage you to take the time to focus a little bit more on that, if that is the case, if I'm reading it right. Because I think sometimes using our own experience to create art is one of the bravest things that we can do. So thank you so much for your poems this week, and I look forward to next week's poems.